Now, wouldn't this be raising taxes on them?
Well, you know what? Oh, man. Ooh. Well, if we go with 999, everything will be 9%. So, if you think about it, 9% here, 9% there, but it's all 9%. We can just make the world not 9%, We were talking about UN earlier. Send 9% to the UN. 9% military, 9% education, 9%.
Excuse me,
Mr.
McCain.
My name's Sharon Gaelic, and you're charged for sexual harassment against me.
Hey, I did not make a settlement with you. I made an agreement.
No, this is not an agreement.
Revoking the $4 million.
Mr. Kane, this is not an agreement. I'm coming forth, and there are 3 other women who are accusing you for sexual harassment charges.
Define sexual harassment.
I plan up your butt, and you define sexual harassment for me.
Well, I mean, sexual harassment, it's an interesting term there. I mean, you can go a lot of ways with it, right? I mean, there's different types of sexual harassment, and some people think other things are sexual harassment, well, maybe someone else, like me, doesn't think it's sexual harassment. So, I mean,
Please, my client here 2 days ago, Mr. McCain, or Mr. Kane, offered his special version. He offered his version of a stimulus package to my client. I don't know if you consider that sexual harassment. Perhaps he was just confused with all the plans going around here.
Well,
Let me ask you, Mr. Kane.
Yeah.
Are you also 9?
He was more like a 2.
we were pleading the fifth. Let's just stick with that one.
Thank you very much. You know what? Actually, I'd like to propose one question regarding all this sexual harassment issue to Speaker Gingrich. Speaker Gingrich, wherever you may be. In the 90s, you led the charge against Bill Clinton for the Monica Lewinsky scandal. You seem to be very, very light about recent events with Mr. Kane. If you'd like to comment on this and why the sudden switch in your views towards sexual behavior, that would be much appreciated.
Well, first of all, it's not a very good question, moderator. I don't need to comment on Herman Cain's actions, sexual harassment claims. He's making a fool of himself enough. I don't need to waste my time. My experience in Congress is all I need to win this race and become president. Could you repeat the other part of the question?
I simply wanted to know why you wanted to impeach President Clinton under sexual charges, yet you seem to be A-okay with Mr. Kane. Yeah.
Well, this kind of flip-flopping is what the Republican Party is all about. If I wasn't flip-flopping, what kind of American would I be? What kind of Republican would I be? I would be a Democrat. Worse than Satan. I need to stick to this party's ideals, and that answers your question.
Thank you, Speaker Gingrich.
Alright, so Bachman, do you support Mayor Jean Quan of Oakland as well as Mayor Bloomberg of New York in their decisions to clear out the Occupy Wall Street protester camps?
Well, Occupy Wall Street. Now, it sounds good to the ear, but in reality, it's not good. It's just people living on the streets for free rent, and that is not something they should be doing. They should be out there hardworking like the rest of us Americans. They should be out there getting jobs, not living off of free rent and free food. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Congresswoman. We would actually like to direct the same question regarding your thoughts on the Occupy movement to Governor Romney. Oh, and also, just a point of personal privilege to all the candidates. When you speak, please come up to the front of the stage. That means you, Mr. Paul.
Just deal with
hobble on over here. Get your...
Would you like some help?
Here you are.
I need some assistance, please. You're a doctor. I do like touching people.
As a governor...
As governor of Massachusetts, also presiding over the city of Boston, you already know my views on New York.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. This one is going to go to Governor Perry. Many of you have talked about which of President Obama's policies you would like to repeal. But let's look a little further into the past. If you could reverse just one of President George W. Bush's policies, what would it be?
You know, I don't think it's a problem with George Bush. I think it is a problem with Obama. We need to repeal Obamacare. This man right here, Mitt Romney, Romneycare is Obamacare. Romney supported Obamacare in his state. We can't let some guy like that be our president. We must repeal all of Obama's plans. We must not let any of that go through and affect us, the people of America.
Mr. Perry, the question was not which one of Barack Obama's policies would you repeal. The question was which one of George W. Bush's policies would you repeal. Would you like to address this?
I don't think we need to focus on what people like George Bush, the great man from Texas, has done wrong. We need to focus on what people like Obama has done wrong.
Yes, Governor Romney, if you'd like to make a rebuttal.
Mitt Romney, but no, Romney, I think your time is up.
His time hasn't even started.
You know, Governor Perry actually brings up a good point, and there are 3 reasons why you should all listen to him. Well, there's the, well, actually, I can't remember any reasons why you should listen to him.
Ha!
Now,
Yeah.
as governor of Massachusetts, I did not support the plan similar to Obamacare. And actually, when I become president of these United States of America, I'm going to issue an executive order giving all states a waiver so they can bypass Obamacare and get on the fast track to better health care for this nation. The kind of health care that this nation deserves.
All right, thank you. The next question is for Kane. Do you support further investment and development of nuclear energy?
Well, I mean, I think there's a huge problem with China right now because they have potential to develop nuclear capability. So that's a serious problem. But with regards to nuclear energy, you know, I mean, I'd say that, you know what I'm going to say to that question? Well, first I want to thank you, but after that, I'd like to say that, you know, I mean, if we can put 9% of our money into nuclear energy, and take 9% out of nuclear energy and readjust that 9% into something else that I haven't decided yet, then we're in good shape. But my general summary of this is that if this plan, you know, nuclear energy, if it's more than 3 pages, no. If it's less than 3 pages, yes.
How about if it's 9 pages?
No, that's more than 3. 3 is divisible by 9. You get that? 9 and 3. I'm like, you know.
Mr. Kane, how many countries in our
What
world
is
have
with you
nuclear
having to cut people
capabilities?
off? Why must you have to cut people off?
How many countries in our world have nuclear capabilities?
Nothing.
But that is just not true. How can we trust someone like this?
No, we got
every point says 9. Every point trying to raise the taxes of America.
No. I have not had intelligence in the government yet, so I don't know yet. And once I find out all the information, then I will make an educated decision. But I need all the facts to decide.
Wonderful, Mr. King. So we have exhausted our questions, our moderator questions. We will begin accepting questions from the audience. So if you would all have any pieces of paper, any speaker ballots, or if you'd like to raise your hand and write them down, that is fine. Until then, we have some questions that have been submitted over the course of the debate. We're going to start off with a question for Congresswoman Bachmann.
Let them ask.
Well, this one was sent up, so don't tell me how to moderate, Mr. Kane. All right, Congresswoman Bachmann. What do you have to say to claims that you believe homosexuality is a choice and that you and your husband have participated in clinics trying to turn gay people straight?
Well, that's an interesting question because, you know, I don't believe it ever happened.
But he did.
I'm just going to deny that right now. No such thing.
If that's where it stands, then thank you, Congresswoman. Alright, we have one more question, and this is for all the candidates, so if you could just answer in brief, that would be fine. Would any of the candidates be willing to not take a salary as president to allow the redirection of federal funds and avoid raising taxes? Let's just start over here.
Well, I mean, when you say no salary, you know, I gotta pay a living. What I would be willing to do is take 9% of the current salary.
You don't want me to get paid? To make more money? I'm a conservative.
Mitt Romney is standing here trying to tell you he wants to take your money, your salary. I'm telling you right now, I will not be taking any American tax dollars. You know why? I don't need that presidential income. I got big oil, I got big business, and together we can pull through and do this. I will not take your tax money, I will not tax you, and whatever Mitt Romney says is wrong.
Governor Romney, would you like a rebuttal?
Whatever I say is wrong, huh? You know, breathing is a good thing. You should do it more often.
Thank you, Congressman Paul.
Personally, I would take no salary, but not because I don't want the money, it's because I'll be dead before I can use any of it.
Well done.
Speaker Gingrich.
As president, I believe that our money needs to be used in the best way possible, paying me. I have more than 20 years actually, of experience in Congress. With this money, I will be able to further my experience and serve you guys as a better president. Thank you.
Excellent. Ms. Bachman?
Can you please rephrase the question?
Would you be willing not to take a salary in order to divert that tax money into better causes?
Yes, and one of the better causes would be to double the border. Now, when we double the border, it will be great for America. It protects America. It makes America strong. And when we do that, Libya would not be afraid of us.
Thank you, those nasty Libyans on our border. Mr. Huntsman.
As a fellow Mormon, I need all that money. It goes a lot of places, to a lot of different people, all from originating from me.
Mormon solidarity.
Okay, we will begin accepting written questions, or just if you'd like to raise your hand, I will deliver you a microphone so you may ask the candidates. Oh, okay, then I'll just take that. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Presidential hopeful Rick Perry. How do you explain the C in U.S. history and the D in economics you got at Texas A&M?
You know, I don't think it's the grade that matters. It's the name. I went to Texas A&M, and I've been supporting Texas all my life. I'm a hard-working Texan, and I will support our country. Thank you.
Next question. Okay, in the back. Oh, you can come up if you like. Okay, then I will deliver this microphone.
Was it the EPA? I think it's the EPA.
I have a question for Mr. Santorum. Wanting to learn more about his campaign, I googled his name. The first hit was a strange site that had a slang definition, and I'm wondering if you could clarify what his slang meaning of his name is, and how he got that.
There's no good way to answer
I could very easily lose my bid for presidency with this next sentence. Should I say it or should I not say it?
Don't say it. Throw the question. No. Talk about how the fucking sucks.
Pray the gay away.
Thank you.
Rick Perry doesn't know what Santorum is.
Silence.
I have another question for Senator Santorum.
Respect the speaker, please. That means you, Mr. Romney.
In your campaign, you talk a lot about what you would do in terms of social issues like banning gay marriage and abortion. But what about your focus on economic issues and foreign policy? Because you don't really seem to have it.
Senator?
Oh, God. Could you repeat that question, please?
In your campaign, you talk a lot about your stance and your actions on social issues like gay marriage and abortion. But you don't seem to put enough focus on foreign policy and on economics, which are the real issues, and I don't seem to see any focus from you on that.
Well, that's a great question. And like all questions, it has a good answer. And that answer is that I agree with a lot of what my opponents have to say. I like tax reform. I like Israel. I'm not really a big fan of China. I disagree with everything that Obama has to say, including the decision about his dog's name, which is absolutely ridiculous.
What's his dog's name?
Obama. Really? Well, that's actually not so bad. So the response to your question is I would research every other presidential candidate other than Santorum. Thank you.
So this is a question for Mr. Kane. Last week you were quoted as saying about the presidency, we need a leader, not a reader. And it bears a striking similarity to a line from the Simpsons movie. I was wondering if you could elaborate on that and possibly explain whether or not there is any correlation.
Well, I mean, when you talk about movies, right? Everyone loves movies, and I see no reason why you can't incorporate movies and other things in the presidency. Like, for example, I'll go off on a little tangent here. All right, so you know my 999 plan. Well, a lot of people say that comes from Sim City too, and in fact, it does. But that's okay because when you use things that are in life and you use them to apply to the presidency, sometimes that benefits. Sometimes it doesn't. But in my case, it will always benefit because I'm Herman Cain, and my campaign manager smokes.
Oh, now we have lots of questions.
Mr. Kane, the other day in an interview, you first denied the use of cameras and then said that instead of 1 hour it would be 20 minutes and then just canceled it altogether. What do you have to say about that?
Could you clarify a little bit?
Yes, you were going to do an interview with a newspaper from Chicago, I believe, and they wanted to use video cameras and record the interview, but you said that they couldn't do that, and then said that also, instead of the previously planned 1 hour, it would be 20 minutes, and then just cancel the interview altogether.
Well, you know, someone like me, Herman Cain, we got a lot of stuff going on. And at times, I just can't take interviews. I try to take it. I love your questions, but I mean, sometimes I can't answer those questions. And when I'm scared of answering questions, I tend not to take the interview. But if you think about it, you know, as a presidential candidate, I got a lot going on. I got a lot of plans. I got 3, I believe, and I got a lot of things I need to do. You know, I have to go give speeches, gotta sleep, eat pizza, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes I just don't have time for an interview. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is another one from Mr. Kane. Can you explain your campaign video with your campaign manager smoking to a pop song, I believe? Thanks.
I am America. One voice, united we stand. And that is why I chose that song. Because I agree with America. And I chose that guy smoking. Because I thought that, you know, typical American, we smoke. We do things we should. That's America. I mean, if we didn't do those kind of things, you know, we'd be countries in awful shape, like, you know, other places. So, really what I'm trying to get at is that when you have someone in your video smoking, you don't necessarily need to take it the wrong way. I mean, just an ordinary guy, just like you. Do you smoke? Oh, darn.
Not really.
Ooh. Well, I'll find someone who does and then get back to you.
In the front.
Mr. Omni, would you pick Mr. Perry as your VP if elected?
You're a funny man. I like you.
Thank you, Governor Romney.
This is addressed to all the candidates. Who would your vice president be if you were president?
Let's start with Mr. Kane and move down the line.
You know, I'm gonna let Gingrich have this to start. That's what I do.
If I were elected president, which I will, because of my 20 years of experience in Congress, I can assure you I would not pick any of these candidates for VP. Thank you.
Mr. Kane.
I said I'd keep it simple. Anyone who takes 999 is my VP.
Mr. Perry.
I've told you once before and I'll tell you again. I'm here for the people of America. All y'all can be my VP.
Mr. Romney.
If I could somehow combine Herman Cain and Speaker Gingrich, a Newman Gingrich. The most glorious of Frankenstein's monsters. He would be my vice president.
Senator Santorum.
Well, I'd like to say it certainly wouldn't be Paul back here. He's about to die anyway.
Mr. Paul.
My memory's going right now, so I'll get back to you. My campaign will get back to you.
Thank you. Congresswoman Bachman.
Now, I don't trust any of these males except myself. Oh, it does not work. But if I were to take one, I have to take my kind and loving husband. He knows what I'm all about.
And Governor Huntsman.
My choice for VP would be my fellow Mormon, Rodney, forever.
Mitt forever. Thank you.
I love him. You know the GOP frowns down upon homosexuality.
Please stop interrupting us. All the way in the back.
So, as governor, your state has more executions than any other states. How do you justify that?
Did you know that in the past 30 years, if you were born in America, you're more likely to die by one of my executions than by an airplane crash? That's right. And you know what? I do it for all America.
That was poetry. All the way in the back.
This is for all the candidates. What's your price?
What are you offering?
The same thing that you paid Cain.
Do I get that again?
Mr. Kane.
I just said, do I get that again? No.
Okay, never mind.
Well, Mr. Santorum, I'm an expensive piece. I'm a little like a fine wine. I just get better with age. So a bit soon.
Thank you.
As a congressman with over 20 years of experience, my price would be the liberty and security of the Republican Party and the expulsion and eradication of the Democrats. Thank you.
A fair price.
Well, honestly, with my obvious attraction and suave, my price should be free for all you know.
All right, Congresswoman Bachman and Mr. Hudson.
My price is a very small price. It is a small price that all of you can afford. Thank you.
My price would just be yours, times 9. Oh wait, never mind.
Thank you, Mr. Kane and Mr. Huntsman. All right.
judging from the taste of Godfather's pizza, it's obvious that you have no foreign policy experience. But what do you think about Hugo Chavez and Venezuela and his opposition to America's dominance over the rest of the world?
Can you just remind me who that is?
He's the president of Venezuela.
He is?
Yeah, it's in South America. It's down.
No, he's wrong. It's Cesar Chavez. The fight in the fields.
I'm afraid you're incorrect. It's actually Cesar Chavez. So I can't answer that question.
It's a question for Mr. Kane. Can you imagine a world where there is no pizza?
Imagine there's no pizza. I couldn't if I tried.
That was incredible. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
I have a question for Herman Cain. In a recent interview between Fox and your wife, Gloria Cain, Fox's Greta Van Susteren asked your wife if you would make a great president, and she replied, I think so.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying, do you really have to ask me all those questions because you know I can't answer them? And then I'll try. You know, my wife said I think so. That's a sign that my wife has faith in me because that's way better than I thought I'd get after, what I did to the one in the back.
Okay, well, are there any more questions from anyone in the audience? Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry.
Romney, what's your stance on abortion? You flip-flop a lot on the issue.
I do. Well, I believe that abortion is it's a woman's choice to not have an abortion by the federal government should let women not choose. Abortion.
Would you mind if I bounce that question right over to Mr. Paul as well? Thank you.
I don't think the government should be getting into any of our business. It's your private life. You can do whatever you want with your time. You can get an abortion, you can stab yourself, who cares? It's your baby, it's your stomach.
Direct that question to Kane as well. Direct that question to
Mr.
Kane.
Kane, would you like to comment on the issue?
No.
Well done.
I'm not quite sure who said it, but earlier one of the candidates mentioned that they would like the complete eradication of the Democratic Party. Who will you guys argue like children with if the Democratic Party were to be eradicated?
I can answer.
Speaker Gingrich?
I'm sure you would all believe that the Democrats don't know what they're talking about. We Republicans are the ones who really know what America is all about. American ideals. Thank you.
No Obama!
Mr. Perry, please.
The gold standard is something that has always been a staple of our country. It's in our Constitution. It's how we know that the government can be reliable with our funds. If we give the government money, they give it to us back. They should be able to.
Thank you. Any questions?
This one's for Mr. Paul again. Why do you think you have been consistently the most adorable presidential candidate?
It's pretty obvious.
Harassment.
Hey, that's my job.
Thank you, Mr. Ron Paul.
This question is for the two Mormons and maybe Kate. Will you guys try to reinstitute the traditional Mormon practice of polygamy?
Mr. Romney?
Now, this is actually going to be a serious response. There's been a lot of opinions going around about Mormonism and my faith in the Christian church. But I, like many Christian Americans out there, believe in Jesus Christ. And one of the parts from the Bible that I believe in the most is from the chapter, it's from the Gospel of St. Luke. Lo and behold, the kingdom of God is not here nor there, but the kingdom of God is within you and me.
Mr. Hudson.
Why should I limit myself to one? Why can't I have more? Agreed.
Any questions? It seems as if we're almost out of time. So if we could take one
I
last.
think it said maybe Kane on that one.
You've had too many questions, Mr. Kane.
This was a question for Herman Kane.
All right, never mind.
Mr. Kane, can you please elaborate on your theory about the difference between apples and oranges?
Apples, oranges. The two separate things. So when you have a plan and you have a different plan, you can't combine them. Thank you.
And that about wraps up our debate. That was an excellent ending point. Thank you guys for coming to the first ever Debate Department Talk GOP debate.